Have you ever been in one of those situations, maybe a big presentation at work, and you see two people, and they have basically the same skills, but they handle it completely differently?
Oh, yeah.
All the
Often.
time, one of them walks in, just shoulders back, totally certain they're about to crush it,
Mm.
like Tony Stark.
Right.
And then there's the other person, just as competent, but they're riddled with doubt. They feel like a fraud. It's the full Peter Parker experience.
That thing that separates them, that I've got this feeling, is confidence. And it really does look like a superpower. But the mission for this deep dive is to show you that it's actually built, not born.
We're basically looking at a huge survey of the research here, the psychology, the biology, all of it, to give you a blueprint for why some people believe they can succeed.
And more importantly, what you can actually do to build that belief. But first, we have to get the language right. People throw around words like confidence and self-esteem like they're the same thing.
And they're not.
Not at all. Researchers are really clear on this. So confidence is your general belief in your abilities. It's the big umbrella.
Okay.
But the term that's maybe more useful is self-efficacy. That's task-specific. It's your belief that you can nail a particular situation, like, I am confident I can give this specific presentation.
So confidence is I'm a capable person, but self-efficacy is I can finish this marathon.
Exactly. And then the third one is self-esteem, which is about your sense of self-worth, your value as a person. It's totally separate from your abilities.
Right. You could have high self-esteem, think you're a good person, but have zero self-efficacy when it comes to, I don't know, fixing a car.
Precisely. And that brings us to one last distinction: trait versus state confidence.
Okay, what's that?
Trait confidence is your baseline. It's your stable, long-term personality. But state confidence is how you feel in a particular moment in a specific situation.
So that's why someone can be a super confident coder, but then just freeze up at a party.
That's the perfect example. Their technical state confidence is high, but their social state confidence is low.
All right, that's a great foundation. So let's start with the hardwiring. The age-old question, is confidence born or built? Let's get into the biological blueprint.
Well, the research is pretty clear that it's not entirely learned.
Yeah.
There's a modest heritable component.
How modest are we talking?
The estimates I've seen range from around 9% up to maybe 30%.
So up to a third could be genetics. But that means 70% or more is everything else. That's a lot of room to grow.
A huge amount.
Yeah.
And we can actually see what's happening in the brain. There are specific regions that act like a confidence dashboard.
The dashboard, I like that.
Yeah, so when you feel certain about something, your ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the VMPFC, and another spot, the PGACC, they light up. Think of them as the brain's green light.
And what about that feeling of doubt, the hesitation?
That's a different network. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the insula. They seem to monitor for conflict or uncertainty. They're basically the brain's check engine light.
So it's this constant negotiation between the green light and the check engine light.
That's a great way to put it. It's a dynamic system.
What about the chemicals, the neurotransmitters that are driving all this?
You have to start with serotonin. It's often called the confidence molecule.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And high levels are linked to lower anxiety, depression. So when those negative states are turned down, you're just more psychologically free to take the kind of risks that actually build confidence.
It's like it clears the runway for takeoff.
Exactly. And then you've got dopamine. Dopamine is all about motivation and reward. That feeling you get when you succeed, that I did it rush, that's dopamine.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to do it again.
Okay, so you've got serotonin clearing the way and dopamine rewarding the success. But what about testosterone? We always hear about testosterone and confidence.
You know, it's way more complicated than people think. Recent large-scale studies found that giving men testosterone, it had almost no significant effect on their willingness to compete or their confidence.
Wait, really? So it's not some kind of instant liquid courage?
No, not at all.
Right.
But here's the twist. The research points to prenatal testosterone exposure.
Before you're born.
Yeah. It seems to correlate with more realistic self-assessment later in life.
Yeah.
So it might actually reduce overconfidence, not boost it. It's less about aggression now and more about how your brain was wired for risk from the very beginning.
Wow. Okay, so if the wiring is maybe 30% of the story, that other 70% is about how we filter the world, our personality. That's a perfect transition. How does personality turn the dial up or down on confidence?
Well, if you look at the big 5 personality traits, extroversion has the strongest positive link.
That makes sense.
Yeah, extroverts are more sociable, assertive, energetic. They're constantly putting themselves in situations where they get positive feedback, which just builds on itself.
They're the life of the party, which naturally reinforces their belief that they belong at the party. What's the flip side?
Neuroticism. It has a really strong negative correlation, especially the parts related to anxiety and depression. I mean, the numbers are a stark correlation of negative 0.57 with anxiety.
So if you're prone to worry, it's just constantly eating away at your belief in yourself.
Constantly. Makes every challenge feel like a catastrophe waiting to happen.
And that brings us to let's call it the dark side of confidence. We've all met that person whose confidence feels a little inflated, maybe even dangerous.
You're talking about narcissism. It's part of what psychologists call the dark triad. Narcissists show incredibly high self-confidence, but it's often what we call maladaptive overconfidence.
What does that mean, maladaptive?
It means it's not based in reality, and it actually hurts them in the long run. They're so focused on looking good that they can't take feedback, so they don't learn from their mistakes.
And that leads us right to one of my favorite cognitive biases, the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Ah, yes. The ultimate example of confidence and competence not lining up.
For anyone who doesn't know, can you break it down?
Dunning-Kruger is basically when people with very little skill or knowledge in an area dramatically overestimate their ability.
Why?
It's a dual burden. Their incompetence means they don't have the skills to do the task well, but it also means they lack the skills to even recognize how poorly they're doing.
So the people who know the least are the most certain that they know everything. I feel like I see that online every single day.
Oh, absolutely. But then you have the complete opposite problem, which hits the top performers. Imposter syndrome.
Right. These are people who are objectively killing it. They have the promotions, the awards, the data, but they live in constant fear of being exposed as a fraud.
It's a paradox of expertise. The more you learn about a subject, the more you become aware of its complexity, and the more you realize how much you don't know.
So their expertise actually makes them feel less adequate.
Exactly. They see the vast landscape of their field, and they focus on the tiny part they haven't mastered yet, which leads them to underestimate where they stand relative to everyone else.
That sets us up perfectly. If confidence isn't just something you have, how do you build it? This is the training montage section. We have to talk about Albert Bandura's work here.
Yes, Bandura's theory gives us the essential playbook for building self-efficacy. He laid out 4 core sources.
Okay, let's run through them. What's number 1, the most important one?
Mastery experiences. It's so simple, but so powerful. Success breeds confidence.
Just getting wins.
Just getting wins. Every time you succeed at a task, you strengthen that belief that you can do it again. And the flip side is true early failures can be really damaging.
So small wins are the foundation for the big wins. Okay, what's number 2?
Vicarious experiences or social modeling. This is seeing someone else succeed and thinking, if they can do it, so can I.
It's got to be someone relatable, though, right? Not like watching a superhero.
Exactly. It's most powerful when the model is someone similar to you, someone who maybe even struggled a bit before they succeeded.
Okay, number 3?
Social persuasion. This is verbal encouragement from a credible source, a trusted mentor telling you you've got this. It provides a boost, but it has to be backed up by actual performance.
Praise alone won't get you there.
It fades fast if you don't eventually get that win. And the last one is about our internal state.
What do you mean?
Our physiological and affective states.
Yeah.
It's all about how you interpret your body's signals. If your heart is pounding before a speech and you think, oh no, I'm terrified, your confidence plummets.
But if you can reframe it.
If you can tell yourself, this is excitement, this is energy, I'm ready to go,
Yeah.
you can keep your confidence intact.
That's the Jedi mind trick of confidence building, which of course brings us to Carol Dweck's work on mindset.
It's so critical. The difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset.
A fixed mindset is the belief that your abilities are set in stone, right?
Right. So if you fail, it's proof that you're just not good enough. And that's devastating for confidence. But a growth mindset is the belief that you can develop your abilities through effort and practice.
So failure isn't a verdict, it's just data.
It's a stepping stone. It's an opportunity to learn. That belief is fundamental for building resilient confidence.
And where does all this start? When does the story begin for us?
It starts in childhood,
Yeah.
really early on. Secure attachment to a caregiver provides that safe base you need to go out and explore the world.
And parenting styles must play a huge role.
A massive role. The research points to what's called authoritative parenting. That's a style with warmth, support, but also clear boundaries and high expectations. It fosters confidence because kids feel heard and validated,
Versus a really harsh or critical environment.
which can lead to low self-confidence that sticks with you for life. It really shows how confidence starts as something relational before it ever becomes internal.
Okay, before we move on, there's one more bias we should touch on, the heart-easy effect.
Right. Another quirk in how we judge ourselves. People tend to overestimate their performance on difficult tasks.
Out of what? Hope?
Maybe, but they also tend to underestimate their performance on easy tasks, maybe thinking there must have been a trick they missed. Optimal confidence is finding that sweet spot in between.
Speaking of things not being fair, let's talk about the real-world friction. There's a persistent, documented confidence gap between genders.
Yes, the gender confidence gap is a really robust finding. On average, women report lower confidence than men, even when their objective performance is identical,
And that's especially true in certain fields.
especially in competitive male-dominated fields like tech or finance. The performance data says they're equal, but the self-perception just doesn't line up.
And this isn't just an internal feeling, right? It has real-world consequences.
It absolutely does. The research shows women tend to engage in less self-promotion than men, and evaluators often unconsciously see that lack of self-promotion and interpret it as lower competence.
Wow. So your underconfidence becomes contagious. It makes other people less confident in you.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
That's a huge insight. Okay, let's shift to the link between confidence and mental health. I want to talk about this concept of depressive realism. It sounds counterintuitive.
It is. So we know anxiety and depression are strongly linked with low confidence. No surprise there. But some researchers noticed a strange paradox.
What's that?
People with depressive symptoms sometimes have more accurate self-assessments than people who are not depressed.
Wait, what? So healthy people are walking around with a slight positive illusion about themselves, and people with depression are just seeing things more clearly.
That's the implication. It suggests that most of us need a little bit of a positive bias, a slight overconfidence, just to stay motivated and take risks. Depression might strip that away, leaving you with a colder, harder reality.
That is a slightly terrifying thought, that a mild delusion is good for you.
It's a complex idea. And this is all tied into the errors in thinking, the cognitive distortions that just sabotage self-belief, things like catastrophizing,
Proving the worst case scenario.
or all-or-nothing thinking, where anything less than perfect is a total failure. These thought patterns create a negative loop that can lead to learned helplessness, the belief that nothing you do matters anyway.
And then that just completely destroys your self-efficacy.
It's the ultimate confidence killer.
Okay, so we've covered the wiring, the personality filters, the roadblocks. Let's get to the action. How do we do the upgrade?
All right, the strategies. Since mastery experiences are the bedrock, it starts with goal setting, specifically using the SMART framework.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Exactly. You break a huge, scary goal into tiny, achievable steps. You create a staircase of small wins.
And what about fighting those cognitive distortions we just talked about, the catastrophizing?
That's cognitive restructuring. It's a core technique from cognitive behavioral therapy. You learn to catch those automatic negative thoughts and challenge them. You become your own lawyer, basically, arguing against the negative self-talk with actual evidence.
I love that. So what about when things go wrong, when you do have a setback? How do you maintain confidence then?
That's about building what researchers call TOSCI, or trait robustness of self-confidence. It's not just about being confident. It's about your ability to maintain that confidence even when you fail.
So it's about resilience.
It's all about resilience.
Yeah.
Focusing on the effort, not just the outcome, and seeing setbacks as temporary.
And finally, let's just briefly touch on embodied cognition, the idea that your body can change your mind.
Right, things like power posing, adopting an expansive open posture. While the science on the hormonal effects is a bit debated, the psychological boost is real. Just acting confident can make you feel more confident.
Fake it till you make it, but with science.
Sort of, yeah.
This has been an incredible deep dive. To wrap it all up, what are the 2 or 3 biggest takeaways for our listener?
Okay, first, confidence is a skill. It's built, not born. Yes, there's a small genetic component, but it's overwhelmingly shaped by your experiences, especially early in life.
Second, the way you build it is through action.
Absolutely. Mastery experiences, those small, repeated successes, are the most powerful engine for confidence, especially when you see those successes through a growth mindset.
And third, the goal isn't just to be confident, it's to be optimally confident.
Which means realistic self-appraisal. You want to avoid the self-doubt of imposter syndrome, but also steer clear of the delusional overconfidence of Dunning-Kruger. Optimal confidence is a realistic, resilient belief that you can learn, grow, and meet challenges.
That framework, building the belief that you can learn, is so powerful. And it brings me back to the gender confidence gap we talked about. It leaves us with a really big question for you, the listener, to think about. If we know that a lack of self-promotion is often misinterpreted as a lack of competence, how can our organizations, our workplaces, our schools restructure how we evaluate people? How can we change the system to make sure that competence is what gets rewarded, regardless of how loudly it announces itself? Something to chew on.